Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the DX X Swordman Wonder Ride book from Kamen Rider Saber. So this is a power-up form for Yuri to go from basically just being a sword being held by a shadow figure to a full-on rider form, the X Swordman you can see up here. So it's a really cool form. I like the idea that this is kind of modeled after a comic book as opposed to a normal book like all the others. So they're changing it up a little bit. And some of the artwork inside here I think is actually really neat. I love the comic book motif with kind of the, pulp comic look to the pages and everything like that. Really neat in my opinion. But so in here you get just the book. I know it does show the belt in the background, but that's from the Psycho driver. So we'll bring that back in when we bring the sword in. But yeah, just the box, or just the book is in this box is what I'm trying to say. They did go back and sell a set of this with the sword when they came out. So if you had the sword already, you could get this one by itself. If you had neither, you could buy a set of the two together. So that was an option. But obviously I had the sword already, so I just grabbed this one. Over here on the side, you can see when he has the different forms where he can kind of take all of his armor and put it down to either his arm or his foot and use that as an attack. And here you can see it on the arm over on this side. And that has to do with different forms with the book, which we'll take a look at, of course. Not too much going on the bottom here. If we take a look on the back, just kind of showing you how to open the book and put it in the driver, and then showing it being used with the sword, as you can see here. So we will, of course, take a look at all of that. I'm going to go ahead, get this out of the box, and we'll take a closer look. So here is the X Swordman Wonder Ride book, and I'm getting super 90s Nickelodeon vibes from this thing. I mean, it is fluorescent green and fluorescent orange. Absolutely makes me think of Nickelodeon, but I don't think that's what they were going for. But I do really like the cover of the book. I really like the artwork here. Very cool. You can see it is meant for the first slot of the driver, so all the way to the left if you're looking at it, all the way to the right if you're wearing it. And we'll try it out with the sword driver a little bit later. You can see it's got... I'm hitting the button on the back by accident. There is a button under here. But you can see this thing's got quite the caboose. We got the speaker over here. This is where the batteries go. So when you first open this up, you pull the little tab out of there. Here is the QR code, and here is the silver emblem for the book painted on there. There is one button under here. So it basically just says X Swordman. Now you can open up the cover like all the others. And then you can see you have a pretty neat drawing here of the form. So you can go ahead and kind of push the cover back to trigger a sound. You can do that up to 3 times. So that's kind of it on its own, to be quite honest. But I do really like the picture on the front. I like the picture on the inside. Sound effects so far pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Psycho driver. Alright, so very simply, we're just going to go ahead and pop it onto the buckle here. Then we bring the sword in, and we tap it with this button on the bottom here. So you hear some of the sounds line up there between the two books. Now you don't have to use the sword to press that button. Of course you can just press the button with your hand. It's not going to stop anything. But it's neat to have both the sounds kind of lined up during the transformation. Now, like I said, the artwork I think is really cool. They really went all out to kind of make it look like an older comic book. And I think it looks really great. You even have word bubbles here, but written in that language. Really fun. I like that a lot. Now you can go ahead and I'm just going to press the button with my hand to cycle through the rest of the pages here. So I believe this is when he puts all of the armor on his arm. But again, really like the artwork here. Very, very cool. So in the previous one, you can hear it say arm, and then this one it says leg, and then kick. So it's sometimes it's a little difficult to tell what's going on with the artwork here, but it is him kicking with all the armor on his leg. But again, really colorful, very fun, very stylized artwork. I like it quite a bit. Now, this is the last page. If you hit the button again, it doesn't do anything. So we're going to close this up, but you can actually open this up. So that's pretty much it for the book on here, but it's a decent amount of sound effects, and I really do like them, and I really like the look of all the different pages and everything. I think that's a lot of fun. But we can try this out with the sword driver. Alright, so it is meant for the first slot here. So not really too much going on with the sword there. In fact, the LED just kind of cut out halfway through, but the sounds do play from the book. So if you just keep popping this in, so if you just keep pulling the sword out, it'll just keep flipping through the pages. Now, if we open this up again, so that doesn't, so if you do the option to kind of push this, you have to use the sword to pull it out. Now that looked like it jumped 2 pages that time, but... Now one last thing we can try for fun. So none of them really line up wonderfully with the sword driver, but you can use them in there. Alright, that's enough out of you guys. And then just a couple last things we can do. So it sounds like for most of the books it just says giant monster in here, but still pretty cool. So I think this book's a lot of fun. I mean, first of all, you have the crazy garish fluorescent color scheme with the green and the orange. Like I said, for a 90s Nick kid like me, that's definitely going to resonate. I know it won't with everybody, but instinctively that makes me want to like it more than anything else. I also really like that they modeled it after a comic book. I think that's a nice idea. All the other books have been kind of novels, so to change it up a little bit, we have a comic book this time. And I really like what they've done with it aesthetically. The picture on the front looks great, but then when you get into the pages on the inside, they have that kind of pulp style printing to make it look like an old time comic book, which I think is really, really fun and just aesthetically looks great. All the artwork on the various pages looks really cool. I also really appreciate that there's more than just the one flip open. You have a couple pages to flip through, which is really cool. I mean, it makes sense because he has the different attacks for putting all the armor on the arm or the leg, so they have that all showcased. But I mean, everything aesthetically about this really resonates with me, and I really like it a lot. Now, as far as the sound effects go, I think you have a decent amount of sound effects. You have the transformation jingle. You know, you have the attacks as you page through the book. I think there's a normal attack. There's one for the arm. There's one for the leg. So you have all those sounds. Then after that, you have the like close it up, open it again, and it gives you that finish reading. And you can hit the button again to page through, and you get some sound effects for that as well. So all things considered, I think there's a decent amount of sound effects and functionality in this thing. And pair that with how aesthetically pleasing I find it. I really like it. I really like it for me. Like I said, I can understand some people might not, and the really bright colors is definitely a weird choice, I guess, just to kind of continue the comic book motif. Superhero costumes are usually bright and colorful, so I guess that might be, at least that's my guess, why they chose these colors. But I think it's fun. I like it a lot. I think it works well with the sword. The sword was kind of okay for me. It didn't have all that much going on, but then when you kind of pair this with it, I feel like it really brings in the level of functionality that he needs for Yuri to be kind of a full-fledged rider. The sword thing was fun, and him having the sword fly around was neat for a time, but giving him a full-on rider form I think is a good choice, and I really like the design of it. I think it's a lot of fun. Very garish, very bright and in your face, but when you figure that it's a comic book motif, I think that makes sense. So I like this one. I recommend picking it up, especially if you already have the sword. I would say there's no reason not to pick this one up to go with it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.